Ask Reddit, what's the fastest way you've seen a CEO ruin a company? Just saw on the news, a Texas logistics company, CFL, was sentenced to 51 months in prison for wire fraud for transferring company funds to his bank account and destroying the company, causing it to shut down and lay everyone off. The kicker is, he was convicted of the same felony in 1994, so second time he done it. I used to work at a company that had a project manager who would just write purchase orders to a fake company that was himself. The higher-ups didn't check the POs and details, and he just pocketed the money. The best part is the police were called, but whatever he did wasn't technically illegal because he rendered the service. When the CEO of EA moved to being the CEO of Unity, and then immediately shoot himself in the foot with the 12 gauge by changing Unity's publishing policies and causing most devs to drop the engine if he wasn't fired. Whoever decided no P on Tumblr, want it or not, Tumblr was a center point for artists of all kinds, and lots would do kinky stuff. And when they went for it, they went hard. Like a bot would go through and ban you if it found something a little too sexy. Traffic on Tumblr dropped by like 50% in a month. Randall Stephenson, AT&T. He bought DirecTV and Warner Brothers, including DC Comics, CNN, HBO, and so on, for only $175 billion between 2015 and 2018. When everyone was moving to stream services, he thought it was a good idea to buy a cable company that was losing customers by millions and a struggling media company. Me and thousands of people lost their job because of it, including Randall with a $64 million retirement package. What kills me about this is that he and AT&T were positioned to bundle everything together for customers at an inexpensive rate. Once they went dishless with DirecTV, they could have dominated the market by making it super affordable. And yet, every year, they raised prices to make up for the loss of customers, which in turn made more people cancel. The worst part was, while they were actively destroying DirecTV, Warner Bros. And HBO, they just ignored the entire cell phone division and let AT&T become a shell of a respected company. Called his own products crap to the media, and his products were jewelry, won't even last as long as a prawn sandwich. Cautionary Tales did a podcast about this. What I found interesting is that they pointed out that it could be seen as more of a bad viral journalism thing. I need to listen to it again, but IIRC, the speech also continued along the lines of, why shouldn't the average working class person also have a decanter and wear jewelry, etc.? But the media went along with his and his audience's guffawing at poor people not being able to afford expensive stuff instead. Go Bear in Asia. The company got funded €200 million in 5 years. Best funded company in SE Asia at the time. Got a new CEO who fired every single board member that didn't agree with him. Kept all the yes or C-level and directors. In 2 years, the company went down the drain and closed. At its peak, it had over 200 employees. The best part of it, he made the company buy a money-lending business in the Philippines that he owned. So he pocketed whatever money the company had left and then shut it down. Bob Chapek's takeover of Disney in 2019. He immediately hired finance buddies into creative positions, prioritized making money via their parks, and had a quantity over quality approach with their movies. He had a hand green-lighting an insane amount of projects, which lead to overworked staff, bad quality production, and as a result, disliked projects and failing entertainment properties, mainly Marvel. Creative industries are destroyed when one of two sets of people take over, marketing or finance. One doesn't know how to make good product, the other doesn't care. A construction company near me was pulling $100 and minus $200 million in revenue every year and growing constantly. Then the owner died and his frat bro Failson was handed the reins. Within a month, a quarter the employees had either been fired or quit. After 4 months, the rental companies were showing up and repoing lifts and cranes/Caradex in the middle of the day because they weren't being paid. Almost 3/4 of the employees had quit by this point because paychecks kept bouncing. Before 6 months had passed, what was left was sold for a pittance to another company that just wanted what was left of the maintenance contracts. So like 6 months to bomb the company he'd been groomed to take over since he was a teenager to rubble and pee on the ashes. For a more serious example, there's the whole thing with U.S. Firearms Company and the ZIP-22. U.S. Firearms Company was a relatively small gun manufacturer. They were certainly never on the same scale as the likes of Colt or FN, but they were reasonably successful, and did find a niche for making what were and still are considered very high-quality reproductions of the Colt single-action Army revolver. And then, for some inexplicable reason, the CEO decided to toss it all away in favor of his brainchild, the ZIP-22, a pistol that is generally considered to be one of the worst firearms ever made. Not only is it an extremely unreliable gun that's extremely prone to jamming, even if the thing works perfectly, the ZIP-22 is extremely awkward to hold from an ergonomics perspective, and on top of that, it's also one of the most blatantly unsafe firearms ever made, since cocking the gun requires the user to place their finger directly in front of the barrel. The ZIP-22 was such an absolute disaster of a firearm that just a year after it had been released, the company was forced to shut down in its entirety. Forgotten Weapons does a fairly in-depth video about all of its myriad issues in this video for anyone that wants to learn more about it. My personal experience was a new manager that stopped all overtime. I was trying to keep customers happy, and he was not for it. The overtime is an indication that we needed more people. He couldn't see it. I left and they folded, taking the profits from one business unit and continuously funneling more money and resources into the other unit who years later still weren't profitable. Also RIF-ing out top performers from the profit unit. The board finally caught on, and that CEO was exited, but not before death spiraling the entire company. The case of Sneaker Villa and the Manchurian coup. Any of you sneakerheads would know that Villa disappeared, but you may not know why. Our CEO was very cool, but a bit naive and had to let the investors have this Stern School of Business coup. The guy did nothing but make enemies. The Ferguson shootings had happened. Our company employees were very upset. We flew them all out to Philadelphia Convention Center. Our CEO gives a conciliatory speech, everyone claps. People are feeling better. The coup says, "Thanks Jason, I just want everyone to know in this room that more white people are killed by the police each year than black people. I thought he was going to be killed." They found pictures of him having an affair. It got real racial real quick, and good partners won it out. We were sold for 1/3 of what we should have been. I truly believe the coup was a Manchurian executive. The guy wiped out 200 million off the table. F you Dave. Ruin is a strong word, but it wasn't good. Small company wanted to be bigger and have bigger customers. Owners hired a CEO with experience in that. CEO did classic corporate CEO stuff, which didn't jive well because the company had been very employee first, very transparent. A good place to work. Took about 18 months and they fired the guy and the owners stepped back in. How about Chainsaw Al Dunlap? They called him Chainsaw because he'd take over a company and cut it up into pieces. He took over Sunbeam and bankrupted it in an elaborate accounting scandal. He's on the list of worst CEOs of all time. Look him up. It's an interesting read. Sears paid Amazon to make their website. Amazon finishes. Sears execs say it's pointless. Internet is a fad. They give their blessings to Amazon to use the website. How's Sears doing? Good old Big Jim came in on the promise to shareholders he would double the profits in less than a year. And that he did. First, forced retirements for anyone there over 15 years. Get rid of those high salaries. And institutionalized knowledge, but who cares about that? Second, cancel all capital projects. Why build out when customers are kind of forced to buy from us anyway? Third, RTO all around. Even said in a Teams meeting, from his comfy home office of course, If you don't like it, leave. 35% of us left. Company is barely hanging on, and it's well known they are positioning themselves to get sold. Do you know of any CEOs that ruined their companies? Feel free to share in the comments below. Please consider subscribing and liking for more daily videos.